Hello, this is Jahara and you're watching another episode of In the Line of Wire. We're still in Lahore and I had the opportunity of talking to someone who's in a totally different area. You know how some of us talk about lack of emphasis on usability design. Well, Imran Hussain is with UMT, which is the University of Management and Technology. He teaches there, but he's also set up a design center there so that he can create an awareness about usability design. I had the opportunity to talk to him and find out why he set it up and what he's doing. So let's go and talk to Imran Hussain.
So my name's Imran Hussain, and I'm an assistant professor at the University of Management and Technology in Lahore, and I'm also founder of a startup company called Cogmentes.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means a lot of things.
Okay.
Yeah,
so not any one thing.
Not any one thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a portmanteau.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Which is a word for something which is a combination of different words.
Like a chameleon, changing all the time.
Not changing, but a combination.
Oh, combination.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now tell me, Imran. Tell us a little bit about your background. Where were you educated? Where have you lived? You know, basics, foundation.
Right. Okay. So I'm actually a native of the UK. I was born in the UK, and my education is actually I'm a chemical engineer.
Okay.
That's my first degree, and after doing chemical engineering, I did a master's in business IT.
Right.
Yeah. So that's
also from the UK.
Also from the UK as well.
Okay.
And since then, I've been working in the software industry.
Okay.
So I didn't adopt engineering as a profession.
Right.
Yeah. And so I've worked in the UK and also in Pakistan as well.
So what kind of company have you worked on in the UK, and in sort of what kind of capacity as a software engineer?
Yeah, actually I've worked in a variety of roles, both as a software developer, as a designer, and as a project manager as well.
Okay.
But my forte has always been design, usability, and user experience.
Okay. Yeah. And that's why the Interaction Design Center.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell us a little about that, because that interests me. When did you come back to Pakistan?
Actually, I came back to Pakistan in 1999.
Right.
And when I came back, I had this idea, this vision of starting creating awareness in the area of usability and design.
Okay.
Because that was my passion.
Right. And you found that missing here, apparently.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So when I came here, I worked in the software industry for about 3-4 years, and working in the software industry really convinced me that if we want to compete on a global level, we need to improve the quality of our products.
Right.
And part of that is actually improving the user experience and design.
Right.
And someone I know actually put it very nicely. He said that we can't, comparing Pakistan to India, he said we can't, outnumber India, in terms of the quantity of work we do. We can outskill them.
Right.
So, we need a number of skills that we need to improve upon, and one of them is design.
Right.
And so from there, I had this kind of idea that we should create, maybe some kind of center that can help promote design and awareness about that.
So what are the kind of activities that the Interaction Design Center is involved in?
The Interaction Design Center is still quite new.
Okay.
And one of the primary aims is to create awareness about usability and design. Okay. Because when I came to Pakistan about 9-10 years ago, nobody even knew what the word usability meant.
Okay.
So just getting the message across, okay, what is usability and how can you improve usability? So recently, in fact last year in November, we did an event called the World Usability Day.
Right.
And it's an event which is celebrated around the world and in about 140 countries. And we organized it for the first time in Pakistan.
My God.
Yeah.
So quite late in getting into the act.
Very, very late. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can just see the kind of challenges we face because, organizing that event, coming to that point where we actually had it organized and out there in the public took me 9 years, from the idea to the actual thing happening.
Right.
So, that was quite good because for the first time in the public conscious, we put the message across, So people started talking about usability. Right. And about 200 people plus came. students, academics, people from the industry, and so that was quite good.
Okay, so then what are you going to do as a follow-up to that activity? Because it can't be a one-off that's held once a year. Is there something else that you have planned? Do you think this discourse needs to be taken further? Perhaps training conducted for others, other than people within the university, of course?
Yeah. So if we talk about the actual goal, which is to improve usability in design,
right.
There are a number of fronts that we have to kind of work on.
Right.
And one of them is continuing with the awareness program. So continuing to have events,
right.
Initiating training programs.
Right.
So recently I conducted a workshop at LUMS,
okay.
Which was on usability testing. People from the industry attended that event. So we hope to further continue to organize events like that.
Okay.
Maybe for different sectors, so maybe for the banking sector, for the telecom sector.
Right.
Make it focused so people can relate to it more easily.
Right.
Also, maybe start some education programs, on like for undergraduate programs or on a graduate level. So that could be one thing we might do.
Isn't usability a part of the curriculum at university right now in computer science?
Not really. I mean, at the computer science level, in fact, the official curriculum of ACM and IEEE does stipulate as a guideline to have human-computer interaction.
Right.
That's a core body of knowledge,
right.
As part of the curriculum. But not many universities actually teach that.
Okay.
So that is a problem. And one of the reasons why they don't teach it is that either they don't have the knowledge or the awareness or the importance of it as a subject, or they don't have faculty members who can actually teach it. Okay, but so the awareness part is being overcome. So in the past 2-3 years, people are becoming more aware. Universities are becoming more aware, but it's still being taught in very few places. So that is on a curriculum, computer science level. Human-computer interaction is one of the courses that can be delivered.
Right. Okay.
But it also applies to non-computer science areas as well. So even if you're running an IT department, or if you're running a marketing department, regardless of what sector you're in, IT is now pervasive.
Right.
Okay? So you need to know about design and usability.
Right.
Even if you're a business manager,
right.
You need to know about the importance of user experience,
right.
of customer experience. And that way you can really deliver better quality services and products.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would say that design education, design thinking education is needed across the board.
Right.
Whether you're a business student, business executive, or whether you're an engineer.
So it should also be taught in business schools, for instance?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Is there any chance of that happening in the near future? Do you see it happening anywhere? Other than the workshop you held here at LUMS, which was what, for the computer science students, or was it also for business students?
Well, that was targeted to people from the software industry,
okay.
Or people who work in the IT sphere.
Right.
Yeah. So currently, I'm not aware of customer experience or user experience focused education, but that's something that I hope can be started soon, because we really need it. If we look at our services, services offered by any company, they lack a customer focus.
Right.
If you look at products, they lack a user-centered focus.
Right.
So this whole concept and philosophy of human-centered, user-centered design and development really needs to be adopted, on a large scale.
Okay. Now, how do we do it? What do you think are the first steps that we should take, other than what you're already doing? Is there something that we as an industry, or something that the education sector or the government can do to start things rolling?
Mm-hmm. Well, this idea of changing how people think and becoming customer focused is very grand. It's kind of out there.
Right.
But it can be done, and it happens, bit by bit.
Right.
So different people in different spheres of life need to take this on board and do what they can. So if you're in the education sector, you can start, inculcating that, incorporating that kind of teaching or philosophy in your curriculum.
Right.
Training programs, blogging, for example, will also help create awareness.
Right.
Awareness is the key.
Right.
is the key to what we do. People in the industry, so like the telecoms, banking sectors, all sectors, software industry, they need to kind of think of design thinking and customer focus as a competitive advantage.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so they can, you know, inculcate that into their products. On a government level, you know, in my view, the purpose of the government is to provide a good environment.
Right.
So a regulatory framework. You know. So what they can do is that they can actually stipulate or kind of spell out guidelines for government departments.
Right.
In terms of what the user experience should be or what the customer experience should be.
Right. And also the HEC can
the HEC as well. Yeah.
Ask education institutions to try and implement this in their curriculum.
Yeah, yeah. One of the initiatives that we started at the Interaction Design Center was we started a committee for coming up with a design curriculum.
Okay.
Okay. So that was last year, and we gathered people from the different academic institutions in Lahore, and we started discussing issues and you know, trying to see if we can come up with some guidelines that we can propose to HEC.
Right.
You know, so the HEC obviously has a very critical role in the education sector.
So how far has this gone, this committee? Are you anywhere near to making some recommendations?
Yeah, we've had 2 meetings, but still a lot of work needs to be done.
Right. So at least you're sort of starting things.
Yeah. On the government level, bodies like the e-government directorate, the EGD, the IT ministry, for example,
right,
and you know, other software or IT related bodies, the PSAEB, for example, they can give incentives to companies and to government departments to improve their user experience. You know, set some benchmarks.
Not only that, I think they can probably subsidize training and bring in people. There are some people available locally, but bring in people from the outside who can actually run intensive workshops on user interaction and human-computer interaction as well.
Definitely.
I think that's something the government can help with.
Definitely.
They have the budgets for it.
Yeah, they have the budgets for it. It needs to be put in this direction as well.
Right.
So that thing is clearly lacking. About 7 years ago, I was working for a software company, and we did the first e-government project. Okay. At that time, it wasn't even EGD; it was called the IT Secretariat. You know.
Okay.
And you know, at that time, we actually came up with a body of guidelines for web standards.
Okay.
So web interface standards. How do you manage websites? Okay. Now we need initiatives like that. We need to build frameworks like that.
Has it been followed?
It hasn't been followed, you know.
That's the problem.
That is a problem.
Yes, if you have initiatives and guidelines, implementing them is also important.
Absolutely, absolutely. So there are a lot of gaps missing, you know. So there's a lot of work to be done by the government.
Okay. Now, what else happens? I'm trying to clearly understand what happens at the design center itself on a daily basis, other than having the conference, odd conference or meeting. What is it, and how big is the team that works there?
Okay, so at the design center we have a couple of activities going on. All the courses which are related to design are coordinated by the design center. Okay. And the design center right now is primarily for students. Okay. So it acts as both a design studio. Okay. So when students are working on course projects, they can come there, they can use the facilities, you know, do prototyping. You know. So it's like a design studio workspace. Okay. We also have a meeting room there that are used by project teams. Right. And we also have a very basic usability lab. Okay. Yeah, which consists of a testing room and an observation room. Right. Yeah. So those are the facilities that we have right now.
Is it made available to people outside of the university? To companies?
Not right now. Not right now.
Are you thinking of making that happen?
Yes, we are. Yeah, okay. We are. So we're actually talking to a couple of companies, you know, and to see if they would like to use our facilities. And so there are a few
so that it becomes sort of self-sustaining, and you can buy more equipment and maybe make the lab bigger. Yeah. You know, that's how it happens. Industry has to get involved and actually sort of commit to some money.
Absolutely, yeah. And the idea of education is not to be isolated, right? But to also to work in tandem, to work hand in hand with the industry. Right. Okay. So it benefits both parties, both bodies. Right. So when people from the industry come in, they bring their set of problems in, and academia can help them out.
Right.
Okay, and in return, academics and students can get the experience of what happens in the real world.
Right.
You know, so working with the industry is absolutely essential. You know, which is again missing in academia.
Right.
Okay, so I mean,
everybody works in silos.
Yeah, everyone works in silos. You know, so I'm hoping that we can overcome that in our sphere of work.
Right. Good. Now tell me, other than the design center, you are also starting a company of your own.
That's right. Yeah.
Is it the first attempt at becoming an entrepreneur?
No, it's actually not. I'm actually a failed entrepreneur.
Oh, good. That's the first things that you need to do if you're ever going to be successful, is to fail at least once.
Yeah. So straight out of university, I had these grand visions of, you know, doing my own thing, you know.
Right.
And so I started off, me and my brother-in-law actually.
Right.
And I know we weren't successful. We had to go there for about 10, 11 months, but we lacked the kind of marketing experience.
What did you start? What kind of company was it?
Well, it was basically a web design and development company.
Okay.
And this is back in the UK.
Right.
And so that didn't work out.
Right. Okay.
And so that if you're an entrepreneur, you really need a lot of things to come together to be successful.
Right.
Okay. And experience really matters. You know, it does help.
So
after that, I was working in different places in the UK and Pakistan, and since early this year, I've been working on my startup called Cogmentings.
Okay.
It's basically a user experience consultancy firm.
Right.
And a product development firm.
Okay. Do you think this market is mature enough yet to actually need or recognize that they need a user advisor or usability consultant?
Some companies are,
okay,
but they are very few.
Okay,
very frankly. I do consulting, you know, every now and then. A year and a half ago, I worked for a company called Scribe, based in Islamabad.
Right.
So I was a user experience consultant for them.
Okay, terrific.
Okay.
We know Scribe.
So there are, you know, here and there are some patches where people.
But it'll grow as awareness increases.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So the key thing right now is to create awareness.
Right. And the application that you're developing an application as well.
On the product development side, we're focusing on mobile applications, and more specifically on the iPhone.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have a joint venture with a company called Texel,
right,
which have a core competency in engineering,
right,
software engineering,
right.
And so working together, you know, the design expertise and engineering expertise, we're developing a couple of products, you know.
Okay.
And we hope to have one out by the end of this month.
Okay,
Very good.
Very close.
Submit it to Apple and let's see what they do with us.
Right, right. No, I think there's a lot of growth in the iPhone development or the mobile development space right now, because everybody has to be a little different. The mobile companies, whether it's the telecom providers or the handset companies, all need something different to be able to capture market. So I think perhaps maybe your product is going to be different from any other product that is.
Yeah, we hope it will get noticed. And
can you share what kind of space is it in? Is it a utility? Is it a office productivity? Is it social?
It's going to be focused on the reference category and the education category.
Okay,
so a combination.
So very different. Right now there are a lot more games coming out of Pakistan in the mobile space than anything else.
Yeah. And one of the key things is that in mobile application development for the App Store right now is getting noticed, picking the right product space.
Right.
Because already they have 50,000 applications, and being noticed among them is getting
more and more difficult
day by day.
So it must be something that will attract some attention.
Yeah. So, you know, being an entrepreneur actually requires that you pick the right product idea, have a business model for it, have a good user experience, have good engineering behind it. So all the things need to come together.
And how long has it taken to come up with the product?
It's taken about 3 months.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah.
3 months is pretty good. If you talk to some of our conservative and long in this business software companies, their products took as much as 4 years to come out.
Right.
So mobile applications are,
you
can fail quicker and learn from the experience, or you can succeed very quickly.
Okay, one of the applications that we're working on right now is an idea that was that came to me about 15 years ago.
Okay.
But at that time, mobiles were non-existent, and so I did some kind of basic work in that area. And a few months ago, when I met my partner at Excel, he kind of came up with the same idea, and I said, okay, let's go with it.
Okay, this is meant to be.
This is meant to be. It was destiny calling.
Right. Now, let's talk about your blog. It's called Experience Matters, right?
Yeah.
So tell us a little about it. When did you start it? What kind of articles do you post? And is it just your articles that go up, or do other people contribute to it?
Yeah. So, I mean, the title is quite self-explanatory.
Right.
Experience matters. It really does matter.
Right.
And so, again, it's part of the whole awareness initiative of making people aware of how to create better products and better services which are more people-focused and more user-friendly. Right. And it's only been about 2-3 months, and I post the odd article up there every now and then. It's a combination of it's really focused on customer experience, customer service, design, and usability. Right. So it's kind of a niche blog. Okay. And the information is a combination of news items, case studies, and interesting methods or techniques. Okay. So that's what it's supposed to be. Okay. And so it's still in its infancy. Right. If I have any personal experience, that goes up there. So recently, I went to a Toyota workshop, and I saw some improvements that could be made in their customer service. I made those suggestions, and I get my car serviced at Toyota workshops, and I went there one day, and I saw an improvement that could be made to the service, and I made that suggestion. Initially, they didn't adopt it, but I kind of pestered them and persisted with the suggestion, and eventually they did. Okay. Okay, and the story's up there. Okay, yeah. Terrific. So that's just a small kind of example of how. So tell us the story. Well, I own a car, a Toyota Corolla. Right. And I usually get it serviced myself. And when you go to the workshop, it can take anywhere from an hour to 4 hours. Right. Okay? And it has to be done during work hours. Yes. Okay, because that's when they open. Yeah. So for a person like me, 3-4 hours is a lot of time. So they expect that either you have a chauffeur, or you take the day off. Or you take the day off. Right. That is time wasted. Right. So what I suggested to them is that if people like myself come there and we have our laptop, if you provide wireless connectivity, we not only get the work done for which we came for, but we also don't lose out on office work. Right. Okay, because I'm kind of mobile. I have a laptop. That's my primary kind of workhorse. Right. And I said, which is easy to do. It's easy to do. I said, you already have the internet here. Right. Just give a wireless connection to your customers. And they will really appreciate it. Right. And so eventually they did. And so I gained by saving 4 hours or 3 hours of my day, which is a lot. And what's the feedback been like? Are other customers using it? Well, I actually haven't followed up on that. Okay. Yeah, but it'd be interesting to see whether other customers have sort of realized that there is Wi-Fi and they can come in. I actually did suggest them that they should advertise it. Yeah. And it also a USP. So to their customers that you come here and this is what you get. You're not losing time. It's also a selling point for them. Yeah. They can differentiate themselves, from other competitors, and we do this and this that other people don't do. Yeah. So it seems like a small thing, but that's how you improve the customer service, by paying attention to detail. Right. Okay, and focusing on customer needs, on user needs. Right. Especially if the customer has come and told you that this is what I need. Yeah. Your customer who's coming to give you money. So right. Okay, that's true. And that's one of the sorry things about our country is that businesses and organizations, they don't realize that they run on the purses and on the money of people, of their customers. Right. So they need to start appreciating them on a moral, ethical level. And also from a business point of view, it makes sense. Yes, it serves the bottom line. That's right. Now tell me, so we were talking about your blog. So other than stories like this,
Has there been any feedback from people who visited your blog, for instance? Any kind of feedback that's made you think that, okay, you know, somebody has come here and it's made a difference to them? Or is it too early in the day to sort of?
I can't actually recall anything from the blog, but if we talk about World Usability Day, for example, we did a case study on the NHA e-tag system.
Okay.
That was presented in the event, and we had people from different sectors. The World Usability Day event was actually, the theme was travel and transportation.
Okay.
So we had a lot of people from the travel sector and transportation sector.
Right.
So a couple of people came there from the police department and from UT, the transportation department. They came and they heard what was presented and they went away. And after a couple of weeks, I talked to this UT professor, and he says to me, well, I've been talking to the NHA chairman, and we discussed the problems that you highlighted in the NHA e-tax service, and they're looking into it.
Oh, wow.
And similarly, someone from the police department, city traffic police in Lahore, I bumped into them about a couple of weeks ago, and they were also talking about the same thing as well, that they were actually discussing those issues presented in the case study with their higher officials.
So that means it does sift through. If you are sort of persistent and you talk about issues, people have not thought about it, and maybe that's why they're not sort of involved in this area.
That's right, and so we come down to the basic problem, which is awareness. We have to create awareness, and we need to do it on a more consistent and on a more pervasive level. Okay, and so through this conversation, I'm hoping that people out there will kind of start taking initiatives to spread the word.
Right. Maybe mainstream media could also be involved, because their reach is far greater than a small number of people who watch a webcast. But do you think they'll see the importance of it? I don't know. I'm a little bit doubtful.
Well, right now our media is really caught up in geopolitics,
Okay.
And I think there are very few channels which do things on a more intellectual level. And so I think the media has its own priorities, but definitely if they take up the calls, it does help.
What do you think? Shouldn't we start sort of looking at design and user interaction and customer experience at a more basic level, school level, where it can start becoming more of a learn by play sort of attitude, and so that it's ingrained in people right at the early stage, rather than wait until they're at university or in a company and then start talking about design to them at that stage?
Yeah, it definitely will help, and that's why we need to kind of do some innovation in the way we educate our children.
Right.
I'm a parent. I have 3 children, and I'm not satisfied by the education system, in the country, which is really focusing on grades, attaining grades and passing tests, and there needs to be more focus on innovation and creativity and concept-based learning.
Right.
Okay. And so when you have concept-based learning, children, they learn to apply skills to real-world problems. Okay. And that's where they will definitely, invariably, they will get this kind of design thinking and this kind of innovation-based approach to working. So for that, we need a major and radical overhaul in our schooling methodology.
I totally agree. Thank you, Imran.
Thank you very much.
So that was Imran Hussain. I don't think he likes the camera very much. He was very shy about talking to us. But don't you think that was interesting? I think usability design is something that we don't attach enough importance to. Perhaps we should start thinking about it. This is Jahara signing off from another episode of In the Line of Wire.